Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Pro-Shane Propaganda. I'm playing under the username Zone.com at Steam these days. Basically, in my web series here, a game where I'm the hero gets commentated on. So that's what makes it propaganda. I have to be the hero. I lose all the time, but you won't see that on this channel. So in this game, I start in the pocket. It's 3 versus 3 in Arabia. I'm Malays, which is a newer civ. I don't know a lot about them, to be honest. I often have to look at the technology tree to figure out what's going on. Setting the stage, take the fog of war off. My left flank here is Mr. Blue. His name is Domdale. He's Japanese, which is my favorite civ. And this guy up top, he got Persians. That's Human Gus, or Humongous, I don't know. So, in terms of the 1 versus 1 component, the game within the game, this flank is against green. It's Persians against Koreans. If they're equal players, I would probably take the Persians to win. Both kind of look like they're Imperial Age civs to me, with the Koreans getting their bombard cannons and these guys getting their elephants, which hard to pay for a lot of elephants in the Castle Age because they're so expensive. Malays against Spanish, no idea. And Japanese against Byzantines. Well, that's an infantry civilization against that. It's kind of an anti-infantry civilization, isn't it? With they get paladins, but no blast furnace. But they get that their unique unit's really good against infantry. I forget what it's called at the moment. Cataphracts, something like that. I would think that this guy would beat him if they're both equal, just in terms of the civilizations. But scouting around, finding sheep. I like to join all of my houses together, no matter. That could end up as one long wall in the long run, you never know, but just a measure of protection. Sometimes it's good to have your houses out in the middle of nowhere so that you get the line of sight to see an enemy coming, but you have to worry about wolves. I remember not liking this map or this situation too much. I just hate Arabia with the trees. You got none, and there's always that pond in the middle of them. If you use the interior trees, you're risking big attack. So. Luring my boar, haven't lost a villager yet. Everything is by and large going well. I'm a lower score here. One stroke of luck is I got my deer close to my berries, which situates the mill close, saves their walking time. And that was just luck, although I deliberately built my mill close to the deer as opposed to over here or in here. I also liked that it would give me a measure of protection here, just giving a little bit further for the knights to run before they can get to my peasants, and just a couple extra seconds is a couple extra seconds reaction time. Finding these days I'm not scouting well. You don't really like your scout to be idle. On the other hand, sometimes you can run into an enemy town center by not paying close enough attention. Wood was at a premium here, so I felt like I wanted to get to Castle Age, and I put a lot of villagers on gold without building a mill, or pardon me, a mining camp for the time being. I remember wanting to wall. I built over there because I was worried about somebody coming along the lake. That always screws me up in Arabia, is that you make the wall right here, but there's a path along the lake that you don't even know about. So I wanted to seal this section over here. And I'm ready to go castle. And red, the guy I'm standing off against in this game is still in the Dark Ages while I'm going castle, so that's not a good sign at all. And I don't plan on providing a perfect seal, but nobody could come in this way without me getting a warning first. And anybody coming in this way, well, they better bring something because they're going to face some castle fire or some town center fire. So send my villagers out into the middle, and there's the wolves that I was worried about earlier. I decided to build, I'm going with monks, so I built that monastery pretty much just to get one monk and use it for upgrades. There. Got the second town center here. That's the problem. These trees are they're never good for big groups of peasants. There, I wanted to got my monk, and I'm getting I think that's hit points. And of course, with the monk, I'm getting my hit points back on my villagers who are having a heck of a time with wolves. Must be on a difficult setting. The wolves' line of sight is really big. So I built that there just because I wanted the stone, but stroke of luck, I saw the extra relic, so I decided to pick it up. Got not a bad little town going. It's not sealed by any stretch, but I do see purple here messing around with blue. The scores don't look great, and we're down. I guess it's pretty much even here. We're down by just 3%. It's good to have a town center when you go with monks, because you need somewhere to store your monks while they get their conversion rate back. But purple has no idea I'm there. I checked on I looked at this game from his point of view for a little while. He had no idea I was here. So he could have saw my monks right there, but his real life vision is looking over here, and he's got to be worried about those pikemen chomping down his camels. I don't know why people like camels. I mean, they're good against knights, but they suck against everything else, right? So I need another town center here, and that's basically just where I'm going to store my monks if I need to. So these monks, they have redemption. I did research that somewhere. I picked up a relic, and I got 6 monks, and they're going to be my offense. And that's a rude awakening. It's like, oh, we're just building a house and clobbered. Can you imagine the real life? It's like, yeah, go build that house over there. You got your back turned, and your carpenter just gets clobbered by a mangonel. So this is deliberately sneaky on my part. We'll pause it. I deliberately exposed my mangonel while keeping my monks in his outside of his line of sight. So he's purple, so we'll look at pace on infinity. According to his line of sight, I got a town center, and he has no idea that there's monks right there. And watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Watch what happens. So I did lose my mangonel, but I got those 5 camels, so I won on the exchange, and the scores just flip-flopped. We'll go back to my point of view. So even though purple or blue is the rookie of the game so far, we are winning. So up here, it looks like green and teal are getting ready for a fight. green. Teal doesn't seem to be doing much. I remember I talked to Teal in this game, and Teal got preoccupied with saving blue, when all he had to do was attack the guy's towns. If he attacks their towns, they have to retreat. You don't have to go to the battle. You can bring the battle somewhere else. Oh, and look. They sent some knights into monks and camels. I think I got 2 of them. And with redemption, of course, I converted that. And that's just to take away the line of sight. And I just look at the scores and I'm feeling really confident that I'm going to hammer purple. A good 30% lead on him. Team versus team, though, it's still close. We're only up 3% now. But when Red sent those 3 knights at me, it gave me a lot of confidence, because a good player would not have done that. A good player knows not to send 3 knights into 6 monks. They're just, you're going to lose them, and he did. So that's amazing castle position. Can't really ask for anything more if you're pushing any closer. But in this case, but you're just going to risk town center fire, taking some of your peasants. Purple knows when to haul butt and run. I thought he was going to run up here, this alley, but he did the right move. I only got one of his peasants on the escape. But that, converting that house. Convert that. Start to steal all the farms. Meanwhile, I convert this so I have somewhere to go. Purple did a bad job. He actually did a good job of recovering. But he let me take all his stuff. And at this point, Red's awake and he's the game high scorer, so he's been booming. So he harassed my town, and that's why I tell Teal, you gotta start playing, Never do this. You never want to make an army that just sits there. There they came, but he should have brought that to them. And he's got 3 scouts, and no idea why. I guess they're good against monks, but that's about it. At this stage of the game. And Purple had tried to set up camp down here, but he got discovered, and Blue chased him away. I never saw this part before. Again, that would just be a horrifying scene in real life. All these peasants just running up this hill and getting mowed down by in-pursuit knights. So this is going to be a Karambit infestation. They say they're one of the worst units in the game, and pound for pound, but you can just make a lot of them. This was funny. I saw that he must not have updated his line of sight because I took all the stone that was there. So I won because I got some of the neutral stone, like gold piles, like I guess not that, but anything that's in the center here, like that. That's kind of what the game's about. Gets that could have a real advantage. So I stole a gold stone pile that wasn't in my town. And there, we got Red's attention. Red's still high scorer. That has me nervous, and it has me nervous in good part because Teal is just not doing anything. Where is he? But I decided to do a thorough job on Purple. And he starts deleting his stuff finally, but look, he let me convert all this stuff. Red is kind of interested in taking out my secondary town here. He would have done well to charge into that. I think he would have.
Apa shasananya baginda?
At cost. But I think he could have taken down that castle. If he takes down that castle and he has anything left over, he can take down that, especially if he's got reinforcements. But he sends a whole lot of fully upgraded paladins right up blue. And it's at this point the game hangs in the balance. So the scores are tight enough still. We're up by, I guess, 5%-ish. Blue has got not much. Let's take a look. I just hit the Imperial Age. Blue, he's got a population of 93. He's in the Castle Age. He's not close to going into the Imperial. He's garrisoned a lot. Red, he's got a good population. He's at 168. As you can see, purple put himself beside him. Not the easiest town to take. He's got a castle, lots of farms. I guess there's weak points there. Pardon me, there are weak points, but it's not like you can see them. Fully upgraded paladins, those can be a game changer if they can take out 4 or 5 town centers on the other guy and a bunch of villagers while he's at it. Then that's big. So green, he's the game changer here, but he's only got a population of 100. It's not looking like he's doing much of anything, although he is at the Imperial Age. And purple, he lost his first town, but he's got a population of 49 to try and get back into it. Meanwhile, my ally, pardon me, that's me, 127 is my pop, 166 for my ally. Of course, he hasn't killed somebody's town, which is why my population isn't too high. And we're leading on score just by not quite 10%. So I'm imp, and I just go for 1 unit. In this case, I just do an infestation with these Karambit warriors. I make them elite, of course. You can get so many of them that you can cover so much ground. Conscription. And I built this wall out of paranoia. I should have built the gate, but I only had 1 trade card and I made it by accident. But the big deal here is red is entirely focused on blue. I'm not sure if that was a smart thing. To be honest, it might not have been a dumb idea. If he can get blue to quit, that changes the complexion of the game, because you can just look at Teal. He's not very good. Like, he's now the high scorer in the game. But what's he done? You know, he's just sitting over there. He's not got anything. And blue's kind of on his own. He's going to lose. And I kind of realized that. We are up by 10% now. But if blue gets mad and quits, the game changes, so it's still a close game. As you can see, I'm making my elite Karambit warriors. They are cheap as heck, and they don't attack, but man, can you get a lot. But you can just look at the mini-map and see what's going on. See, Teal, he decides to send his army down to blue. All he has to do is take his army over here, and that changes things. But because he did that, he sent his army south. That enables green to set up right here, and just look at how wide open his town is, you know. At this point I was really worried that we were going to lose. The scores just tightened up. And I realized that I have to do something. So I wanted to wait a couple more minutes to get my population up. It's a 300 max game. But I decided that I just absolutely had to get their attention. So teal, he does save blue. But green is starting to affect green. I'm pretty sure Koreans get the blast furnace, don't they? So green doesn't have fully upgraded house yet. So just save blue, but look at, he's got nothing left for a town really. Always pick up the relics. They only cost 100, like you have to make the building. But the gold, the trickling in, pays for itself easily, and you can still use the monk for other things like healing and converting your enemy. And they got a really big line of sight. So I charge in. There's a legion of Karambit warriors. They're gonna start wrecking things. So basically, I got his attention. I don't want to fight his army with any kind of town center fire or castle fire against me. I just want to fight them kind of on open terrain. So I didn't want to get close to this because once that's get loaded with villagers, that'll switch the balance. But his units are better than mine. He just doesn't have very many. And I constantly have just tons of reinforcements coming out of these two castles. I like to harass houses. I just know that I've been in some situations myself where, you know, once you get housed, you're not creating your reinforcements, and you have to stop and start making them with peasants you'd rather be doing something else with. So a big part of this game is that green wasn't effective. Green didn't know how to fight. There's no reason why he shouldn't be right here. And, you know, that's what enabled Teal to go down here, and Teal's not playing right either. He's not seeing the map. Like, all this red is going to stop, because we can take a look at Red's point of view in the game. Red has no resources, and Red is facing a flank on his town. I explain what a flank is if you don't know. It's just when you're attacked with your army pointed the wrong way. So his defensive castle there and his military buildings are pointed this way, but he's getting attacked this way. So purple is, I think, the smartest player on their team, to be honest. It was just a lucky draw that I attacked him. Purple realizes that he can't stop a flank, and he puts up 2 castles. But to be honest, I counter-realize that, and I don't charge into those castles, so I just change the battlefront. But remember, a little while ago, Red was at 170 when he was the high scorer in the game. His population's down 30, and he doesn't have anything coming back. You know, just the off button is just taking out that town center right there and right there. I don't even know if I have his town scouted yet. No, I don't. The only part that made me nervous was these Karambits. They are the weakest unit in the game. I know militia is weaker, but in terms of a unit that qualifies as something you might fight with in the Imperial Age, they're the weakest. So I was just worried what they were going to face. But then I looked at my economy. I was like, okay, I can afford so many reinforcements. Don't go into that. I skip it. I'm at the population max. Always got reinforcements. And just way too many. Let's see. It says I got 264 infantry unit. I don't believe that. It must be factoring because the population is only 300. That number has to be wrong unless they're factoring in the juiced up castle here. I don't see how that can be right. Unless these things don't take a full population. I don't know. But I got a heckle. Look at what that's doing to Red. He's got no gold. He's got no food. And he just lost his main town center. It's not coming back. You can see it coming from a mile away. He can't stop it. He is trying, but once you're only in the center of the and green. Sorry, green. Never really got his population up. He does start to defeat blue here. By this point, you got to be up to 300, and he's aware of the situation on his left. So again, that's a flank. He's got his army coming this way, but he's getting attacked this way. He's just out of position, and he quit. And that's their high scorer that gave up. So when the high scorer gives up, that is the game. It wasn't over. It wasn't really over. Because purple's better than blue, and we were only ahead by 1600. You do come back from that sometimes, but basically green. I don't know what they could do. They needed something out of purple. It wasn't over by score, but I think we would have won. But he had to be here a long time ago, not now. He had to make it this far a little while ago. So this will be wrapping up in a minute. Just looking for anything red. First, the big job is to take out these two castles. They are juiced up for hit points at 6,700. I just decided to run these guys out. I got arson, so. See how they fall. In my original, probably 3 times that. Cataclysm. And red quit, and there. We'll take a look at the stats. Basically, purple was here, he attacked blue. I counterattacked by setting up behind purple here, and converted his town and sieged it. Purple evicted himself here and here. He got re-evicted by blue and had to run up here. I then killed purple. Meanwhile, teal did very little, and green did even worse, less than that. But the game hung in the balance until the hero of the story, me, ran my infantry and flanked red and got his full attention. Poor blue. Blue got beat. And I was having none of that, and I just had that big wall right there. They could have got in, but I had 4 castles there, and it was all a little bit of a decoy, to be perfectly honest, because I got a town right here. Oops. You know, there's nothing. You would have to siege to get through there. You couldn't just send a legion of paladins in. You would lose them. That's too much castle fire and town center fire. Too many hit points in all those buildings, and you can't get the good. You can't surround them because of what's going around them. But we won. Here's the stats. Top military score, top economy, technology, who cares, I researched what I had, society, whatever. I got some relic gold, so that's my society points, lots of villagers. And human Gus, didn't collect much stone, but he sure got a lot of gold, he traded a little bit. And purple just never got his villagers going, neither did blue, but neither red nor green really boomed. You need to get up to, even 180 villagers would have been fine. You do need to save some space for your units, of course, but they never got that.